I pressed record and I wasn't prepared. Give me a sec. Chill out and give me just 2 seconds. Cool. Hello. So today I'm going to show you how I remixed After Midnight by Elkins. It's a fab song. Loved it from the day I heard it. This is how the original went. Oh, so good. Okay, so as I said, like the first time I heard it, I was like, oh god, there's like the production and everything is so good. For a proper, I forgot the names properly, but it was by obviously Elkins, and then other instruments was done by Elliot, Wenman, and Niko Battistini. I think I said that right. But either way, another local producer who's fantastic. He does some absolutely incredible stuff. See, that song goes quite 4/4, quite, it's 4 on the floor. It's kick, snare, and everything. And I remember originally when I thought about it, I was just going to go for a sort of, I was going to kind of turn it into sort of a Madion, Ellis sort of sounding track. So keeping the 4/4 on the floor effect, but just kind of souping it up more and having like different synthesizers and everything. And one day it kind of hit me. I was like, oh, do I do a different rhythm entirely? And the more I started listening to the song and realised that the timing of the melody and how it worked perfectly with a reggaeton beat. So the first thing I did was made a synthesizer, but I only used it at the beginning. It's only the only time I used it. After that, it kind of disappears off into it, but I thought it was a really cool intro. So I faded it in. So it's a very subtle thing, but it's very like floaty and mysterious. And then I just filled it out with a few of these sounds. And then I wanted something that floated over the top, and that's when I found on my trusty splice, I found the vocal hits. I think it's from a pack called Fuego, and it sat perfectly. Load of reverb, a bit of delay. And obviously I loved that vocal hit so much I ended up using it through like pretty much the majority of the song in different ways. And I made a nice like off time by itself. It sounds like this. Just on an oomph there. And then all together, all of them sounded like I loved how it sounded like it just made me think of nighttime in a jungle. Hannah did something I was kind of really surprised by. I hadn't really seen, where she changed tempo. I think it was 3 times in the end. So it's 100 BPM, then it's 102 BPM, then it's 100, and then it's 102 again, which before she told me that was, my brain was hurting trying to work out what on earth was going on. So this first bit was in 100, and she sped it up on the second and last chorus just to give it get the rhythm going a bit, which I thought was genius. I never thought of doing that before, and it really works. So obviously I added in a few little crash sounds and a few little little effects that you can hear on there. They're not necessarily have to be pointed out dead on, but I brought in the vocals. And I could already hear idea how well it was going to work, having the off-time reggaeton beat in relation to the vocals. Hannah obviously sent me the vocals all. I've been dreaming, I'll see you again. She sent me them all processed and everything. They even had a little bit of reverb and delay on them, and I was like, "Well, it's perfect." It did me a favour, if anything. I did reuse reverb at points or later added just for effect, but I generally didn't really need to touch much on it, which was so handy because it meant I could just get on with the rest of the song. So, yeah, left the first verse to vibe in with that. And I wanted to make a build, of course, because it needed to have that lovely effect. So I added bass in and keys underneath. And the clicks as well. So that bit there, the little build, I had little whoosh effect come in, which is thought brought it perfectly to the next part. But obviously there's a build snare in there, and then there's clicks keep going, but halfway through. But what I did on the keys was the point when I realised that the chord structure I was doing was very much different to the original track, which was this. So nice build, nice build, gave it loads of delay, so it was sounding all dreamy and everything. And obviously it ends on a resolving chord, so when it came in with the drop, it just sounded perfect. So then once again the vocals were kept pretty much the same. And the first thing I did actually was put the drums in because I wanted to hear how it worked with the melody, which obviously is. I went through a few different kick drums actually because I wanted one that really came through. I think, where is it? There we go, right. So gives it some distortion and compressors as well, which really makes it, so it's like saturation basically. And then I don't think I used this in the end. Oh, I did. Yeah, I side chained the kick to a few things just so it really came through. But I then doubled up the snare with the clicks as well. Oh. So it really covered, but the fun thing about the snare, and this is quite a new thing I've been doing recently, is putting the snare drum through a vocal splitter so that it comes through both. I know there's easier ways to do it, but it's easier for me to do that. Because I really wanted to make the kick central and then the snare drum and snap come through on the sides instead of just the centre bit. Here we are. So you just got, the whole thing was, so if I take out the kick, and then a lot of triplet, I think it's triplet rhythm. Yeah, a lot of triplet rhythm stuff going on. But so I just had the vocals going and that, so it was. I literally can't listen to it without get my shoulders going. As you can hear, I was instantly like so happy with how it sounded because of how much it worked with the. So then I brought in the vocal shot and tuned it so it worked in with the chords I was going to put in. And then I had a few different things. Oh, I kept the top shuffle, the top rhythm going the whole time on the drums as well, which was because obviously with this stuff, like the more intricate percussions you got going on, the more it has a groove and the bouncier it is. So yeah, what I had, the vocals and then the one shot. That was a cool thing about it. So I've learned with any drum stuff or just rhythmic things, the more tiny little things you add in, the more impact it has on the beat. So listen. So it's just like, okay, by themselves it doesn't really work, but there's cinematic noises. Once again, all off splice. But it added such a groove and made it just have that extra. Just added so much more interesting stuff into the song. What I'll show you now, what I did is the bass. They've got a great sound going for the trap dough bass on the monotone bass synthesizer. And I just messed around with it a bit so it kind of was a bit, had a bit more attack to it. So I had that, and then I kept playing with things to go underneath, like a little middle section, and everything I did I just hated instantly. Until I looked back in the file Hannah sent me, and I had a brass section. I thought, that is ideal. I messed with it a bit. It used to be just it worked between like two chords, because on the chorus, on the actual song, there's just two chords going. I think there's four. I changed it to on this. If you hear it by itself, you'll see that you can actually hear where I've tweaked it. So you can hear I've pitched it a little bit, but with it all together, and then obviously with the vocals. So I didn't want it to lose any pace. So I looked back in the folder of sounds I've been given, and there's this lovely guitar part. And I was like, yes, that's going to sound perfect. So I switched out the snare drums for just a little rim shot thing, and got some keys going. No? Oh yeah. Just made a little acoustic drum kit. Put through a what did I put it through? I put it through. Radio kit, yeah. So I put it through. Okay, I just put it through a pulverizer, and I think I just rolled off a It's something to it. But it gives it like as it sounds like a radio kit. It sounds like it's come through a little speaker. And there's a little fill I put in, which is just, you know, played in on the MIDI controller. And I got the keys out again. So there's that. And that's just a lightly saturated, overdriven, Rhodes. Just classic instrument for this sort of sound. Let me just show you what it sounded like with the kick. Obviously stays going because I didn't want to lose pace. And all together. So obviously I did a little break there so I could go back into the beat and it would build nicely. And there was that little radio drum fill I put in there. So then I brought in the rest of the kit and I've got a second, more stabby, less subby bass line that I use for the build. So build up there, and I want to have another build but not as long, so and this time I brought in an off-time hi-hat to make it swing even more on the second time round. And Hannah had already put in vocal parts to go in the background, which was perfect. It naturally built itself up. This bit's interesting. So this bit here I was struggling with for a while. The rest of it came pretty quickly. This was the bit that really, because the BPM slowed down to 100 again. But I also I wanted to really break it down. I didn't want to add too much to this. I want it to be really airy. So I put loads of reverb on the vocal track, shitloads, to make it sound like it was, you know, in a cave. But then there's this other really cool part that obviously at the end becomes a real centre point. Let's just play it with the... which is a melody that is just made to be on a reggaeton beat, if you ask me. Like, that is pure... Oh God, just the second I heard it, I was dribbling. So I put loads of echo on it. Oh, not echo, sorry. I put through a low pass and faded it in slowly, just to introduce it with echo on it. So in the background, so I had really cut it down for this bit. So I made an organ, a Piers Morgan. Repeats 3 times and it changes, and I brought in this bass. So that builds alongside the vocals again. Trumpets back in, and then a build snare as well. big vocal line put underneath the beat. They've got a slightly different chord structure on this bit, but I just, did the same rhythm, just changed the notes to it. Like what Hannah and Elliot did with the trumpets and the vocals was, I loved it so much. Like, it was perfect, and it just worked so well for that sort of Cat Empire-y big, I guess samba is probably the right word, but samba sound that's just so, makes you want to party. And yeah, I just kept that looping. I thought, I'm not gonna, there's no sudden end to this, so it's gonna fade out, because you don't want that vibe to end. You just want it to feel like it disappears off to the next place. And obviously it just repeats that round and round. And yeah, fades out. So that's it. I don't think I missed anything out. Obviously I just mastered it and whatnot, which isn't hugely complicated because I'm not amazing at it. So it's quite a simple mastering. But I had so much fun remixing this one. I had so much fun remixing it. So huge thank you once again to Hannah for letting me do this. But that's how I did it, yeah. So thank you for watching. I will be doing another one of these for the single that's coming out this weekend, which I'm excited for, with Sydney Desiree. So that'll be coming. If anyone that is a Reason head or has any questions about stuff, then I would love to answer it. If you don't, that's fine as well. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Please check out the original song and give it some love. If you haven't heard the full version of the song for this version, also feel free to check it out. But thank you very much. In a bit.